Hello, everybody. Welcome on the Innovation and Strategy blog. Today, we have the opportunity of welcoming Jae Seok An. I hope the way I pronounce the name is not too off. And Jae is actually from South Korea, but he's currently in the UK. Hey, Jae.
Hi, I'm Jae Seok, as he said, from South Korea, currently running a startup called Airbtics in London. It is a vacation and short-term rental market research platform. And before doing this, I went to University of Oxford, studied computer science, then worked for Facebook as a software engineer on a contract basis before running this business.
Okay.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we're
Guillaume.
happy to have you on. So, why did you decide to create your startup if you could have potentially continued your contract at Facebook?
I've been always thought running a business is what I'm supposed to do. That has been my only career option because my both parents, my parents have been running businesses entire life. So that's all I've seen. Same goes for my relatives. So actually I did not have much knowledge about how to get into companies, what are the people doing working in the company kind of things. So that was the one thing that I've only known. And when I was in the university, so it was natural for me to start a business. And consequently, I failed. It was a travel activity booking website, and I recruited co-founders, but I just didn't have much knowledge and experiences to build it up to make a successful company. So that time I realized that I should work for a company for at least couple of years just to learn and find out if that just to find out the like lifestyle and what it's like to work for a company and gain some experiences as well. So I did some research about what kind of jobs I can get as a software engineer
Hmm.
and found out there are some companies there are companies called like Big Four in tech companies that's the like one of the most well-known reputable companies for software engineers.
Hmm.
So that became my target, have worked towards it for a couple of months, couple of years. And finally, I got into Facebook as a contractor. That's when I realized this is going to be my last job in a
Okay.
company.
Yeah.
And yeah, and
Okay.
that,
So, what did you learn at Facebook that is applicable to creating a startup?
right. So the most important thing is building the scalable software.
Okay.
So yeah, my startup is basically a market research platform, which basically aggregates bunch of data and run some machine learning algorithms and providing a simple and easy to understand visualization and numbers to the end users.
Okay. So
So
maybe we
yeah,
can go look at that in deeper, if that's okay. So, could you mentioned the name of your startup in the very beginning, but could you say it again? What's the name of the startup?
right. It's called Airbtics.
Okay, Airbitics. Is that right?
That's right.
And so, what does it do exactly?
So it shows data such as how much an Airbnb property in Hong Kong can make. It answers that simple question.
So, for example, I'm the owner of an apartment on the 27th floor in Hong Kong. There's a pool
Yes.
on the 28th floor. And I go to your software and I can figure out that if I were to rent this out for, I don't know, say half a year on Airbnb, I would make X. Is that right?
Right. Yeah, that's one thing that you can find out. But at the
So
same time, you
it's
can,
economic revenue simulation and modeling in a sense. Is that right?
um, that's right. So the exact data it shows is it's going to show average occupancy rate and average daily rate fitting into the criteria of your apartment. So what you can do is you can find out there are a few filters like what amenities you have, such as pool, and how many rooms do you have in the apartment, And once you put those things, it's going to filter out all those data and return what's the current average occupancy rate of that kind of apartment in that area.
I understand. And so it's going to fill out some of the it's going to fill out automatically some of the data related to occupancy, which therefore multiplied by the price will give me the revenue. Is that correct?
That's right. That's going to give the revenue. Yeah.
Okay, great. So so why is this? And I'm guessing that revenue simulation is a real problem for owners, property owners. So why is that a very important problem to your clients? And your clients are property owners, right? Is that correct?
Yeah, it starts from property owners to even hotels or tourist what's that like every cities have like tourist department, like that kind of department, as well as some bigger funds that invest on like outbound real estate or
Mm-hmm.
various kind of like real estate investment. They
Mm-hmm.
use this kind of data for their analysis.
I understand. So to help them inform their business model. Is that correct?
Right, yeah, it helps them to understand the profitability from the perspective of running that on Airbnb or other short-term rental website.
Mm-hmm. I understand. Now, is this, you talked about Hong Kong, but is this available in other cities too?
It does global, like worldwide, wherever there's. So the major data source is Airbnb until now, which I want to expand it to Booking.com, Agoda, and other websites. So wherever there are Airbnb, you can get the insight.
So any city in the world where Airbnb is located, is that right?
Right.
So that's a lot of cities, right?
Yeah, that is a lot of cities, and that's where my skill that I learned from previous companies as a programmer took an important role because yeah, it's a lot of city. There's more than 4 million rows of data that need to be monitored at like certain interval. So it's a lot of like computation powers and a lot of like things to be done, like in terms of the software architecture.
Okay, interesting. I'm guessing that all of this data is fed in real time to your algorithm. I'm guessing that prices may vary based on time of the year, like December is perhaps more expensive than February. Is that correct?
Yeah, so we also show the seasonality, which is shows like the changes of occupancy rate and daily rate in different cities and different filter that we mentioned earlier. It's going to show the seasonality, but this data is not updated on real time. It's because it is almost impossible to update all those data in real time for like because there are like 4 million data that has to be monitored from various sources.
Okay.
We are doing our best, and yeah, that's yeah, we are updating more than once in a month, but not real time.
Okay. Well, that's already a lot once in a month, right?
Right, yeah.
Yeah. So how is this solution that you're developing, a revenue generation modeling solution, how is that different or superior from existing offerings?
Right. So it attracts to slightly different set of the customers because we have different set of filters which allow users to dive in through the data deeper. So for instance, um, Airbnb has this kind of concept called superhost. So in my platform, people can filter and people can find out how much like blah 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 property can make when I'm a superhost or when my review score is on average of like 4.7. So it gives more detailed data result because my competitors don't have such kind of filters. at the same time, and also we are focusing on the accuracy of data, because in the end of the day, like just like my company, other companies are just predicting using their own models, their own algorithms, own technologies, own data sources. And we are doing our best using the trying to follow the scientific and rigorous approaches
Mm-hmm.
to get the to get closer to the actual data set to
Mm-hmm.
find out actual occupancy rate, which is really hard problem. And yeah, that's the thing.
Have you run some kind of comparative analysis between your solution and existing ones?
So I just wrote them in the Excel chart, comparing
Mm-hmm.
different features by features, different
Mm-hmm.
kind of like uh, number differences and those things.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
right. And yeah, I have had a chance to interview some Airbnb hosts
Mm-hmm.
as I run a podcast as well. And
Oh, great.
yeah, that's how I can actually verify or validate if the kind of data set that I've gained are good enough, is close enough.
Mm-hmm. So basically, you're conducting primary research to verify whether your model is giving simulations that turn out to be right.
That's right.
That's congratulations. That's pretty impressive. I mean, a lot of technologies founders like you tend to be really focused on the technology, and sometimes they are less focused on understanding clients and conducting the kind of primary research you're mentioning.
I see.
May I ask you if that's something that was done in some way or other at Facebook too, or was that something that you did at Facebook too?
Um, Conducting the interviews or
Yes.
building.
Yeah, conducting
Uh,
the.
oh no, I haven't done it before.
Okay. Okay. Now, you mentioned that you were comparing your solution to existing ones on a feature-to-feature basis. So
Yeah.
I'm guessing that in some respect, your solution is better than competing ones. Is that the case?
So there are some features that we are offering that's unique,
Like which ones are unique?
right? Like the filter that we have for, like, for example, like the superhost status or
Okay.
like average review score.
Okay.
And at the same time, we are quite focusing on Asia region as well, we like which we have built the partnerships with some companies, some vacation rental websites that's not on Airbnb, so we gain data directly from them.
Mhm. So there's both a feature-specific differentiation and a market and geography differentiation.
Yep.
Okay, so can you tell us about your ideal client? What would she or he look like? What is? I'm guessing it's a property owner that's based in Asia.
Um, I'm trying to get into real estate investment researcher.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay. So like an analyst that's dedicated to real estate. Is that right?
that's right. So
One
people,
one
mhm,
an analyst that would be wanting to invest for to develop tourism, right?
uh, um, that could be the case as well. But like the my ideal client profile is going to be someone who works in a fund, and
Yep.
that fund invests a lot in purchasing real estate all over the world or like specific countries. And I want the researcher in that company to refer to my data. So eventually, yeah, that's the goal.
Now, what kind of a sell is that? Because I'm guessing there are not too many researchers like that. I mean, it's not a huge in terms of number of people. Like it's a very B2B market.
Yep.
It's obviously not a B2C market. So in terms of the number of potential clients,
Right.
I'm guessing it's a low figure, although they may pay a very high price to get your service. I'm guessing, is that right?
Yes, that is right.
Okay.
The reason
Can I
why
ask you how many
yeah.
people would be, how many people there are in your market? Like, I'm not talking about the competition. I'm talking about potential buyers. Would it be 10,000, for example?
I haven't actually calculated the numbers.
Okay.
So yeah, that's something I don't know yet.
Okay.
But something I haven't told earlier is the reason why they're the ideal customer profile is
Yes.
because my business model is SaaS, subscription based,
Yep.
and most of the Airbnb hosts or property managers don't acquire new properties every month or every years. They usually buy it one time, and there's gonna be long interval between those two. But the
Mm-hmm.
funds, they usually buy it again and again, like more than one every month.
Mm-hmm.
So they need the data
Right.
constantly.
I understand. Okay, perfect. Can we move on to another topic?
Yep, sounds good.
So I was wondering, what are your favorite business or innovation books?
Right. So there's this book called How to Be a Capitalist Without Any Capital by Nathan Latka.
Okay.
That's my
So
favorite
let me
book.
just write the name, Nathan,
Yes, Nathan.
and the last name is what?
Latka, Latka.
Yeah. Okay. How to be a capitalist without capital.
Right.
Okay. And so why did you enjoy reading the book?
So his philosophies about running a business resonated with me well, especially the part where um, he emphasized a lot about how to scale a business with remote worker freelancers instead of the full-time workers,
Mm-hmm.
as well as like utilizing like running a podcast was one of the ideas from that book as well.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah.
So yeah, I learned lots of like useful things that I can actually apply to my business.
Okay. Can I ask you a question? Like, do you use a site like Upwork to find remote workers?
Yes, I do.
And is it Upwork that you use or another site?
I used Upwork. Upwork is mainly, and also like outside of the platform as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah. So like find the people from Facebook groups.
Find the people from.
Facebook groups.
Okay, so that means like identifying the people that are part of a given Facebook group. Is that correct?
Um, no, I found some workers
Oh, on
from
the
Facebook
Facebook
groups.
group. On
Yes.
Facebook. Okay, I get it. I understand.
Yeah.
Now, can I ask you a question that I had not imagined to ask you?
Sure.
How do you, what's, what difference do you draw between LinkedIn and Facebook on a professional level? Not as a
Oh,
personal
right.
user, but as a founder.
Right. So yeah. Um, right. So I use both Facebook and LinkedIn to outreach to my potential customers,
Mm-hmm.
prospect.
Yep.
Um, so first of all, Facebook groups have a lot higher engagement rate than LinkedIn groups.
Okay.
That's one thing I've noticed. Second thing is it's a lot easier to find the ICP from LinkedIn than Facebook because on
What's
LinkedIn,
ICP?
oh right, ideal customer profile. So
Wow.
I
Okay.
don't I ideal prospects from LinkedIn because I can see what they're working on, and I can see what's their main focus in their career kind of things from the profile, unlike Facebook. Also, if I send a connection request on LinkedIn, I can send a message. However, on Facebook, it's quite rare, or I don't really send a friend request to people that I don't know personally.
Mm-hmm. So there's a different ethos, in a sense, a different way of behaving.
Yeah, different of behaving. And so there are various ways I utilize Facebook and LinkedIn for my business. One is like outreach for podcast guests, and Facebook groups work better because there are lots of Airbnb host groups where I can identify those hosts really easily.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to finding someone who want to try like outreach for my product itself, LinkedIn works better.
Interesting. Okay. Thank you. Let's get back to the book. You were talking about how to be a capitalist without capital by
Yep.
Nathan Latka.
Yep.
And how has this book helped you become the person you want to become?
So his book is also an extension of his YouTube channel.
Okay.
He conducts interviews on number of SaaS founders, so
Okay.
software as a service founders.
Okay.
It made me to learn that I can bootstrap a company without having to getting a funding from venture capital or private investors. Because before that, I thought it's the must for tech companies,
Mm-hmm.
but now realized finding out that's not the must. Also, um, those founders in his interviews are the one that I want to become, like personally, but as well as my company want to become like their companies in
Mm-hmm.
terms of the numbers.
Yeah.
So
And the name of this YouTube channel is what?
um, I think it's just Nathan Latka.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
Also, yeah, I've got some ideas from his like books, such as like running the podcast, hiring the VA, kind of things.
Okay. Great. Well, look, we're getting at the end of this interview. So
Yeah.
I want to thank you very much, Jay, for sharing your ideas with me.
Yeah.
And we'll be talking soon.
Yeah. Thank you for having me as well,
Yep.
Guillaume.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.